So the big question on everyone's mind, how good is The Creator? A creation created by the creator who created the creation known as Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Let's jump into this. Welcome to the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams. Before we get started, make sure y'all drop a like and hit subscribe. If you're not subscribed to us already, we're doing some great things. I am currently attending Fantastic Fest 2023 right here in the heart of Austin, Texas. I'm having a blast, and make sure you come follow everything we're doing because I'm putting up reviews, shorts. Follow us on all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, and now on TikTok at the Cinefanatics. But let's talk about The Creator. It's funny because we started off this month with Denzel Washington doing The Equalizer 3, and now we have his son, John David Washington, closing out the month with The Creator. Which one is going to be the best best Washington movie? Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I will give my opinion on that, actually. Real quick, going into this is a sci-fi movie directed by Gareth Edwards, who is following up from his very popular Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which I've been on record as not an entirely, huge fan of. I respect the story and the sci-fi elements of it, but it's very hard for me to get into that movie, and I can't quite pinpoint why. I love Star Wars, but for some reason that movie's just But this movie in particular, I had a lot of fun with it. The story is very easy to follow. You don't need to grasp any high-minded concepts. This doesn't take a Socrates level of knowledge of the way the world works, the way everything exists to be able to understand it. It's very straightforward, and I love it. They put title cards up there to let you know what things you need to know to make sure you are following with the movie, and it works very well. So I loved how the story went with this. There's lots of humor sprinkled in. This doesn't look like it's necessarily a comedy, and it's not, but there is a good, decent amount of humor to lend some good chuckles and ha-has while you're watching the movie, and I absolutely love that about this movie, because it is a very bleak, very dark type of story. We're talking about a world where AI exists in the future, and the AI has now seemingly taken over, or is starting to take over. It caused this big nuclear bomb in LA, and it's just the way the world is dealing with it, and it is a lot of fun watching this possibility. Obviously, this sounds like I'm kind of describing the major plot line of the Terminator movies, and yes, this movie does rely on a lot of the older sci-fi classics like Terminator. There's elements of Blade Runner in here with these AI robots, cyborgs running around. They very much kind of remind you of the replicants of Blade Runner. You got John David Washington, who's protecting this little child that is also an AI robot, very similar to a lot of the visuals, at least from Children of Men. And then also there is some slight Star Wars references in here. I'm not gonna give away what those are, but it does follow, I feel a lot of two major beats from A New Hope. So if you're a big Star Wars fan, you will see some slight connections in this movie as well, which, speaking for me personally, that can't be a bad thing. I love Star Wars. So the other thing I want to touch upon is the cinematography for this. This movie is gorgeous, which is really weird because this movie is filmed on a Sony FX3, which is a step up from the actual camera I'm using right now to film this review. This is a lower end Sony because I can't afford a $3,000 camera for YouTube videos right now. So please subscribe, follow, and like. That would help us out. But yeah, I'm not sitting here trying to get cinema grade quality for YouTube content. I'll be honest, I'm not. But it is amazing how this movie looks, the feel, the texture, the grain in some of these shots, the way that you have the focusing, the typically that bokeh, you get the blur in the background, you get the sharp crispness of everything up front in focus and centered. And it works, even though it is on a lower end, big, huge cinema grade camera. And Christopher Nolan is having a fit over that because he shoots on these big, huge IMAX. That being said, this movie would also look fantastic in an IMAX theater. I'm not a huge fan of IMAX. I think that screen is way too big. So if you are a fan of IMAX, I highly recommend go check that out. And let me know what you think down below in the comments. Is this movie actually going to look good? Because it's not filmed on an IMAX camera. So I'm curious to that. If you saw that, let me know. But yeah, otherwise this movie looks great, especially the big spaceship that's floating around, referred to as Nomad. The graphics on that, obviously, that part's going to be CGI. They didn't actually have a big floating spaceship floating around, big shock. But those shots of it, and especially like the lasers that you see shooting down onto the ground and over the terrain, are just absolutely gorgeous, and I think they did a phenomenal job with showing how well that is and making that ship very daunting looking, which is the point. That ship is essentially another character in this movie, and the way it just looms over the land, it's scary but also very awe-inspiring to see. The other thing to get into with this would be mentioning the actors. Of course, again, you got John David Washington with the lead role, and then you also got Gemma Chan, who does a fantastic job in this as well. I'm loving what Gemma Chan has been doing recently, either all the way back from Crazy Rich Asians to the couple of movies that she's done for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie is fantastic for her filmography as well, and absolutely loved her role in this. But without burying the lead, obviously the biggest role in this is going to be for this new actress, Madeline Yuna Voiles. She does a phenomenal job, and I know I'm using that word a lot, but like her role in this is just absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to see what else they put her in. She is like the heart and soul of this entire movie, and you can tell that she understands that role, that position that she's in with this character that she's playing, and she just knocks it out of the park. Like, I wish there was a lot more like interaction between her and John David Washington, and that's not a complaint of the movie. I just want to see more. I want like a whole nother movie of just them and their day-to-day life, because it was just fun watching those two act and play off of each other. So big things for her future, easily by far. So once again, I do feel like this movie was phenomenal. I had a good time with it. Is it going to be an instant classic, which you might see popping up on social media all over the place? I don't know if I would call it an instant classic yet. It is a fun movie. It is entertaining. As I said before, if you understand the trailers, you'll understand the movie. So it's very easy to digest, and it's a great movie to sit down with a big bowl of popcorn and enjoy. As for which movie from the Washington family I think was the better one, I will be honest, I love Denzel Washington, but I think The Creator probably won over Equalizer 3. So go catch this movie if you can. If I'm going to rate this on a scale out of 10, I'm going to give this movie a solid 8. This movie was great. It was fun. It is a little slow in some places, but I don't mind that too much. And again, I'm also taking into account the fact that I'm at a film festival watching this. So I'm watching anywhere from like 3 to 4 movies in a day, and sitting in a theater watching movies, not a complaint, but it can get kind of overbearing and can kind of like affect your judgment a little, potentially. I do know of a thing called like a festival fever, where people are more inclined to look at a movie more positively because you're at a festival, you're in a room full of film fans and movie lovers, so you may have a tendency to want to rate the movie higher than you typically would when rating movies. I enjoy this movie. I say it's 8 out of 10. What did you think of it? Did you see it already? Let me know down below in the comments, and again, give us a like. Make sure you follow us on social media. We are at The Cinefanatics on Twitter or X, and Instagram, and now TikTok. Follow us on TikTok at The Cinefanatics. I'm uploading shorts and stuff as we are doing more and more content. You will see more and more stuff popping up on TikTok. So make sure you share that as well. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, X, and Instagram and Letterboxd. You want to know my opinions of all the other movies that aren't big mainstream movies? Follow me on Letterboxd. I am ranking and rating those movies as we go through Fantastic Fest 2023. So if there's a little indie movie you were kind of curious about, if you've heard in the wind and you want to know my opinion of it, if I saw it, go check out my Letterboxd. Follow us on all the social media. Come follow us for all the fun things that we're doing here. Bye-bye.